Hi, you're back with Steve Davis. We're looking at a property maybe we're looking to acquire. It's a half a duplex in Shaker. Shaker is a suburb in Cleveland, Ohio. On the east side, as you can see, the properties around here look pretty good. Few things that I look at when I come to a house, I always look at the roof. I like to see a 3-year lifespan on the roof. Make sure your shingles are not curling up on the end. If you see them curling up on the end, a lot of times that means that their life expectancy is short. You always look around your windows for deterioration. And as we're walking up this driveway, you can see how the driveway is sloping in toward the house. Your blocks should always slope away from the house. When they slope in, sometimes that's a sign of water. The windows look pretty good. Glass block. One of the things I always do, I make noise when I go in the back, make sure there's no dogs, and I always look at the back of the house for a forcible entry. Sometimes people break in houses and you do not want to go in if someone's inside. But everything looks to be pretty solid. Make sure you check out our videos at Wire TVs on YouTube. And if you like, share, subscribe, send this video around. For all you newcomers who like the flip houses and wholesale, this is a good video. We're gonna go in and take a look at this house. Let's get the key out the lockbox and go in and see what we see. The first thing I try to do when I go in the house is I try to smell for dampness. If you're in here too long, you won't smell. You want to smell for dampness to see if there's water damage. I always try to make noise, let someone know I'm in here, or some rodents. So I look at the wall, I see a crack in the ceiling. Look at the floor, make sure it's structurally sound. Make sure all your doors are operable. The windows look to be pretty tight. It's kind of small. Living room, dining room combination. I like to see 2 outlets per room. And you like to look at the bottom of your outlets and see if they're grounded. This outlet doesn't look to be grounded. Normally there's a round hole at the bottom. I always look at my heat ducts, and if there's smoke or dirty around the heat ducts, a lot of times your furnace can have a cracked heat exchanger. Going into the kitchen. Wow. You like to see good linoleum or your floor type on floor covering. In the kitchen, you like to see GFIs on your counter. That's a ground outlet that breaks down and it shuts off if water hits it. So you like to see that on each side of your counter, especially if you got 18 inches or more counter space. Let's look under the bottom here. Looks like the plumbing is intact. I see the water lines, supply lines, and the waste line. The door looks pretty solid. The cabinets look to be in repair. So those cabinets can be replaced. Light fixture globe missing, electrical wire hanging. But for you resale wholesalers, you always want to make sure the house is desirable. Whenever going in the basement, let's make sure that the stairs are solid. And when you get to the bottom of the stairs, we always want to make sure that there's no water in the basement. I've had a bad experience with that. The basement seems to be dry. We'll come over and take a look at the water meter. Water meter, hopefully it's ran in copper underneath there, so it is ran in copper plumbing versus the old galvanized gray plumbing, which has a tendency to corrode. So your water line looks to be solid. The gas meter line looks to be solid. I always make sure my walls are solid and they're plumb and there's no structural. For instance, when I'm looking at a wall and there's a crack in the seam of the mortar, that's not a problem. You only have a problem when your block has a crack in the middle. Sometimes that's a sign of structural. I'm always looking at the basement floor. to make sure it's solid. A lot of times you'll look at the floor and you'll see these small holes, I call them pores. It looks like water's coming up. That means there's a bit of water underneath, and you might have a broken waistline, water line, drain tiles, any of that stuff. Let's look at the electrical. Again, we like to see grounded outlets, which is that little hole at the bottom there. So it looks to be grounded. Hopefully we can see 100 amp main circuit breakers. That's always good. And we'll look over here and take a look at the, there's a 220 line for the washer or dryer. There's your GFI. The water lines look to be pretty solid. So the tub is here. And we go over and look at the hot water tank. I always look at the bottom to see if there's a maximum amount of wear and tear. The one thing we always like to see is this piece down here. It's called a dirt leg for your gas line. So you always want to see that at the bottom of your hot water tank. We like to see a pressure release valve, which is missing here, which is supposed to be down to 6 inches from the floor. And your flue, that comes from your chimney to your hot water tank and to your furnace. It always needs to be on the angle, and it needs to be pretty solid and tucked tight at the chimney or the stack. Your waste lines, you always like to see the newer plastic waste lines with clean outs. So if somebody gets a clog, you can clean it out without having to bust the floor out. So there's a clean out. There's a clean out. Here's your furnace. Don't look bad. There's your dirt leg, but it's not hooked up. So there could be some problems with the furnace here. But overall, the basement looks to be pretty solid. So now what we're going to do, we're going to go to the upstairs where the bedrooms are. Okay, we're back on the main floor here. We're going to be going upstairs. Whenever there's 3 or more stairs, inside, outside, you like to see a handrail. Couple safety issues. Whenever I'm in a house, I always like to see the closet doors open. I never put my back to a door because someone could be inside. So you like to see the doors open. Going upstairs here. For all you flippers out there, you got to know what you're looking at a house and know what to look at. That means you know what to sell. And you can always find out what your investors are looking for to do a lot of work or minimum work. Here's the bath. The tub looks to be pretty solid. You could probably use another tub surround, little painting, caulking, glazing of the tub. Tubs normally cost a couple $100 to glaze, to paint, repaint. You got a pedestal sink, looks solid. Mirror, there's your GFI. Within 6 feet of running water, you need to have a GFI outlet. Toilet, looks to be pretty decent. The floor looks solid. Of course, you're gonna put some covering on it, either linoleum or carpet or hardwood. Behind every tub, you always hope to have an access panel, which allows you to get to the plumbing in your waste. Looks pretty solid there. Every bedroom should have 2 outlets. I think you only see 1. Every bedroom should have a closet. Okay, this is only a 2-bedroom, half a duplex. But here's the bigger bedroom. I do see 2 outlets. Doesn't look bad. But again, we're in a house. It should only take you about 10 minutes to look at it. And the more houses you look at, the quicker you'll be able to go through and evaluate. But for anybody who's looking to wholesale real estate, you got to know what you're looking at, and you got to know what your buyers or your investors are looking at. So the quicker, the easier it is for you to sell, and you can talk about it. If there are things you don't know in the house, always grab your handyman to walk around and walk you through things. And the easy way to learn how to deal with everything to a house is to hire a handyman and do all his running. Whatever he needs, I go to Home Depot, Lowe's, I'll go to the hardware store, get it for him. Of course, when I get there, I always get the wrong thing. but I'll get to go back. So you learn what things cost and what they're for, and now you can speak the language. Again, Steve Davis. I am a real estate coach, and we have a lot of videos. So you make sure you go to Wire TV to check out our videos. This is something that most of my investors have been asking us to do. So make sure you subscribe, share, like, let everybody know. But this is basically what we look for in a house. Have a good day.